at a time to gain experience and levels to get stronger, as well as gold to purchase weapons, armor, and items to help in their quest. And that quest, we are set to start here, and we'll talk along the way about what is randomized here in Dragon Warrior Randomizer. But first, the king is going to give the starting instructions, and we'll see what items will help to get things going. And we've got some big bucks to start here, and some big bucks as well. Money and more money.
And stop spell.
So they will have to utilize that key and find keys later. They're looking to hopefully find a town just outside the castle, and we've got swamp. Oh, goodness, we do have swamp.
Well, it's not that big of a swamp, but still, the fact that you're surrounded by swamp right off the bat is not a nice thing, especially when you got magic drackies right off the bat. And gameboyf9 is just saying, no, let's try this again.
Yeah, so those swamp tiles, they do 2 hit points of damage for every step that you take, and given that they're already only starting with 14 hit points, that means that to get out of an area where they can attempt to walk, well, they're already doing more than half damage to themselves.
But, as we see from NESCardinality's side, they are able to one-shot slimes should they encounter them.
Yeah, 11 strength, a nice starting strength. And NESCardinality able to take out a Drakey, but very low, pretty much out of resources, and figures, you know what, I'm just going to meander a little bit since I'm probably going to get wrecked anyway, and yep, there it is. But is just 1 experience away from getting to level 2, and oh, we see green dragons with Dragon Lord breath.
Okay, if I were in their position, I'd probably stick around, maybe try to get a level or 2, but I'm not in their position, so who knows what we'll see.
It is a rough place to be without question. So they're looking to get to level 2 and hope that there's a boatload of hit points, as a skeleton, which is a mid-level enemy. Oh, and a wolf as well. So
I'm thinking we're at the border of the encounter zones here.
Yes, now the way that these zones work is there's an area containing the starting castle, Tanagil Castle, that is a 15 by 15 grid that holds your basic starting enemies, anywhere from a slime or red slime all the way up to a scorpion, anywhere in those 7 enemies there. And then just to the north, south, east, and west of it is another set of 15 by 15 grids that contain your mid-level enemies that can go all the way up to a wolf. Ooh, and another quick death for Card.
And it looks like gameboyf9 has found the sweet spot and gets to level 2. Let's see what we got. Power of 9, agility 17, 1 and 2, no spells. But
1 hit point.
But the strength and agility is definitely good for being able to kill enemies early, which is kind of what our runners need to be doing right now.
And an intentional death, being low on resources once again, as Card now gets to level 2. Only about 19 seconds after Game Boy. Oh, and the skeleton is going to send Card back with some refreshed stats. Given how low it was, that might have been intentional.
Yeah, but even with the strength they got, fighting trolls and skeletons, not really feasible right now.
No, just not having the hit points, especially after still losing just over half of your hit points to walk through the swamp to find a grindable enemy.
But if they're able to find those magic drackies and magician, maybe we could get something here.
So Card getting up to 10 experience now at the moment after taking out that red slime.
And we're seeing kind of the downside of having the grass tiles. The grass tiles have the lowest encounter rate, and gameboyf9 is suffering from that right now.
Yes, as the old adage goes, pacing like a caged animal. Oh, and fighting an Axe Knight. Well, it has the not as strong dragon breath, so there is that.
Yeah, but it's more than enough to take out our runners at this point. And meanwhile, NESCardinality getting lucky getting encounters like the Draki here.
And is just 2 experience away from level 3. But the Magidraki not going to be the enemy to go for it, at least not in Card's assessment. So they both seem to be camping just in this little plain spot right underneath the swamp.
Spot that's still just in that initial enemy zone, and
oh my goodness.
Was that
0040? That was your level gain. No strength, no agility, 4 hit points, and no magic points.
Wow. Okay. We better be getting something soon, or else we might be here for a while. And asking a question in chat. This is a best of 3. And this is game 1, so whoever wins this one will have an advantage going into game 2.
And game 2 is just under 24 hours from now. Will be 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And game 3, if necessary, will immediately follow game 2.
gameboyf9 gets a ghost and will receive the bad news. That's probably the shortest level up text I've ever seen.
Only the best for the grand finals here, that is for sure. And another death to a green dragon, and already both runners in the first 6 minutes of the race combining for 11 deaths. So while they're working back and forth here, as you can see, the overworld map of Dragon Warrior is randomized here in the randomizer. Also the treasure chest and search spot contents, the locations of the towns and caves, also the contents of the weapon and armor shops. Those are randomized around as another death, this time to an Axe Knight for Game Boy. The enemy locations, as you can tell, you don't generally have endgame enemies right there on the spot, as Card takes out a Magidraki for 12 experience, and that's going to get him to level 4.
0, 5, 8, 13. Okay, so at least they got a bit of health now. Still no spells to speak of besides Stop Spell, which really isn't going to do them much good right now.
Yeah, nobody's really cast anything that has caused them some pain, other than a lot of fire.
Yeah, no enemies have actually cast anything so far. Just seen some varying levels of Dragon Breath so far.
Now, as noted, also the order of the spells that they learn, that is randomized, as well, they are guaranteed to learn all 10 spells by level 16. Strike that, reverse it. The enemy spells and abilities, as you've seen, are randomized as well. And once we get to that pesky Dragon Lord, well, in the vanilla version of the game, it has 130 hit points. Oh, well, speaking of casting, look at that. The slime with Hurtmore.
Yeah, that's... Only a preemptive attack by the slime would be able to see that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're seeing it all in different forms here. The mettle of our runners is being tested and then some here in the finals. But yes, the Dragon Lord, which in the vanilla version has 130 hit points, here has a range of anywhere from 150 to 165 hit points. And, oh no, another ambush and another Dragon Lord 2 Fire Breath and another death for Game Boy. That DL2 Breath does anywhere between 64 and 72 hit points of damage.
Wow, NESCardinality finding another Magidraki and takes it down. Good 12 XP right there, which is... The sooner we get to enough health, if nothing else, to be able to explore a bit more, the better.
To answer a question in chat, is there a mercy reroll the seed rule? The way that works, both runners would have to agree to a reroll, and generally the runners tend to avoid asking that, as that tends to tip their hand that they're not doing as well, so they don't want to give that information to the other runner that they potentially are struggling.
Not to mention that I would think those kind of situations would be limited to, seeds where you're struggling to get even to level 2.
Yeah, the encounter locations, while challenging, as you can see, Card kind of going in a almost knight from a chessboard-like format. And there is level 4 for Game Boy.
see a town. Let's see what town this is.
Garenham.
Garenham. Okay.
And nothing purchasable. Pretty pricey weapons and armor and whatnot. There is a silver shield, though, which, yeah. Oh, but we have another town just to the southeast of the first town. Will Game Boy be able to make it? That would be a no.
Not quite. Nope. But Game Boy F9 does have a bit of an information advantage now.
And yes, with the numerous deaths, you see that gold pretty much all but gone, at least on Game Boy's side. Card avoiding the trip back to the castle on a few occasions. And Game Boy just going to cross over to that swamp to see what's there and pick up...
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Pick up another death. Why not? You already had 11. What's one more?
So, the question now is, that other town in the swamp, if that's coal, and if that's where the Edric armor is, ooh boy, whoever gets that first will have a good bit of an advantage. If for no other reason than to be able to get through the swamp without taking damage.
Yes, there are 3 search spots in the game as opposed to pulling items from treasure chests. And they contain one of 3 different items, usually, and I'll explain more about that in a moment. Either the Fairy Flute, which is used to put an enemy known as the Golem to sleep, one of the tougher enemies in the game. There's also Erdrick's Armor, the best armor in the game, and arguably one of the best armors in all of RPG history. And then, of course, there's Erdrick's Token, which is one of the 3 essential items needed to obtain the Rainbow Drop. One of those search spots is in the town of Cole, 4 steps south of the Baths. Sorry as a spoiler for those of you who haven't played the vanilla version of the game. The other is in the town of Hawksnest, which is an abandoned town solely occupied by enemies.
With the trap tile itself, with the search tile itself being a trap tile with some nasty enemies guarding it. And got level 2, 2, 12, and 7 for NESCardinality for level 5.
And now he's going to venture a little bit further here, trying to stay in that zone, but not quite finding it there, and instead finding an Axe Knight. Now, the issue with taking a death is that every time you lose all your hit points, go to 0, and have to go back to the castle, you're revived at the cost of half of your gold. So the over 1,000 gold that each of our runners had to start, you can see just from a combined 17 deaths here a combined 20 deaths. They're stacking up so much, they're a little difficult to put together here.
And we saw Game Boy F9 with the critical hit taking out the Droll. That caught him up a bit on the XP front.
Yes, Game Boy looking to get to 82 experience to get to level 5. Meanwhile, Card looking for a total of 165 to get to level 6. And to answer the scheduling question, immediately after this game, I believe, or 9 o'clock, whichever comes later, I believe, the 3rd place race between Mr. Holmes and BTs. And wow, we've got the level here for Game Boy.
And we are tied on XP, both runners at 85.
Gotta love that critical hit.
Yeah, that was a very clutch shot for Game Boy there.
The experience extremely close, although there's we're still very well in the early going here. Oh, and we see skeletons with sleep.
Uh-oh, that's not good. But they're actually getting some use out of stop spell now. So that doesn't stop the skeleton from just eating your head in.
And both attempting the strategy of going after the skeleton, and well, it's a bit of a challenge is that they can have up to 24 hit points, and right now with their 22 strength apiece, they're doing an average of 2 to 5 hit points. But Card able to take it out. Oh, and Game Boy not.
Yeah, unfortunately, the skeleton didn't cast the sleep on Game Boy F9 until a ways into the fight, when it was a bit too late for him for Stop Spell to really accomplish anything.
Yeah, too much, too little, too late, as the old Johnny Mathis and Denise Williams song goes. Dating myself with that reference, I know. And it looks like both going for the stop spell strategy against the skeleton here.
Makes sense. Sleep is a nasty thing, especially when you don't really have that much for health.
Now, it can have a slight resistance to the stop spell, but so far able to handle it thus far. As Card taking another death, and back he goes.
But if the skeleton keeps trying to cast sleep, Game Boy F9... Oh boy. Is it...
Oh,
no,
one hit point,
quite.
not enough.
So close, and yet back to start.
Now, this is not the first time that these two runners have faced off here in tournament play. In fact, this is the third meeting, and interestingly enough, in the previous two meetings, Game Boy F9 won both of them. So Card in tournament play has not beaten Game Boy F9. Will the third time be the charm here in this tournament final?
Third, fourth, potentially fifth.
Well, yes, that is something along those lines. Back in 2016, in the inaugural tournament, Game Boy bested Cardinality in the fourth round of the tournament. And in last year's tournament, in the fifth round, Game Boy had sent him down to the bonus bracket when it was a double elimination format.
And both of our runners taking it on a skeleton. Nicely done. And then the Wyvern happens.
Yeah, Wyvern, an upper mid-level enemy, not something you generally want to take on, but with those zones... Yeah, with those zones, it's all you have to do is go a little bit down, a little bit to the right, and you've got potentially endgame level enemies, and that's what we've seen thus far here. Axe Knights and Wyverns.
Green Dragons.
Oh yeah, Green Dragons as well with that pesky Dragon Lord breath.
So I'm noticing that Game Boy F9 hasn't really tried to get back to that second town to see what it is. Maybe just thinking it's just worth it to just stick around and grind a bit more, just for survivability's sake.
Well, and I think that's what it is. There's such a death path to get to those towns that there's no sense taking just essentially one hit from an enemy and all of a sudden back to the castle you go. And the Countess noting in chat that, yeah, Game Boy has died in the desert at least twice since he's made it to that town. So just from taking those few steps, well, and as I say that, one step into the desert, and there's another Dragon Lord breath from the Green Dragon.
But taking out that droll did pretty much catch him up on the XP front. So their paths have varied a bit on how the enemies they've been killing, but their XP is pretty much even at this point.
And well, Card taking out the droll here, and that's going to be enough to get to level 6.
Alright, let's see what we got. 7, 1, 6, 0, and hurt and heal more.
The ability to heal, very important, and you can see Card already starting to make a beeline down to the southeast.
Oh, and using hurt on the Wyvern to pretty good effect. Let's see if we can outpace the damage, though.
Well, it's not a bad play, considering that your attack, your melee attack at this point is only going to do anywhere between 1 to 2 hit points of damage, as opposed to the hurt spell doing anywhere between 11 and 15, I think, somewhere thereabouts.
Yeah, but NESCardinality gets the kill on the Wyvern, getting a ton of XP for his efforts.
Yeah, 64 experience and is already just about halfway to level 7. So Game Boy back into Garanham, but still not enough. Card able to make it in and having a little bit more gold here and has some more options. We'll have to settle for a small shield, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's the only option you got. You gotta take whatever defense you can get. And we see Spectres have Dragon Lord One Breath.
Well, not so much Dragon Lord 1, but just the standard Dragon Breath.
Yeah, I misspoke there, yeah.
So Game Boy taking out the Spectrum. We've got 2 towns there in the swamp. One of them is Hawk's Nest. That's that abandoned town. Noping right on out of there. And finds Rimeldar, the town with keys. And
Game Boy F9 can afford some. Thanks, at least in parts, of that Spectre kill on the way there.
So, with 151 gold, able to purchase 2 keys. Just shy of 3, as they're 53 gold apiece.
So, we have options here. There's the one chest in here that you have to use both keys for. There's the key lock chests in Garanham and the Tangential Treasury.
So many options, so few keys. And Game Boy gonna try to use the hurt on the Wyvern, but it won't be enough.
Nah, the hit points was just too low. Couldn't even withstand one hit from the Wyvern. But
so a little bit of a divergence here.
He's going to be checking the treasury and dragon scale. A little bit of extra defense, and you don't have to buy it. And silver harp, and ooh, some money, and the fairy flute.
So now that is interesting for a couple of reasons here. In that, well, the fairy flute, one of those items, they're usually in a search spot. So because it was found in a chest, that means one of those 3 search spots, either in the overworld, in the town of Cole, or in the town of Hawk's Nest, will be empty.
Meanwhile, NESCardinality reaches level 7. I believe the level was 5737, and the heal spell. But the fact that there was a decent bit of money in the treasury, it's possible we might be seeing a gold grind at some point in the future.
Yes, and we'll get more into that in a little bit here. I'm not sure what the... Well, yeah, I was going to say a little bit of question in chat, as now I'm getting a bit better understanding here. Looking to see what is behind Tangential Castle, but I guess he figures if there's a cave back there, not having any torches to be able to see might be a possibility. We're looking to see what are in these other chests over here, which we're now in Garanham, and we've got the Death Necklace.
Death Necklace, ooh boy.
Fairy Water, which works like the repel spell, and Erdrick's Sword, the best weapon in the game.
Very nice, very nice.
So that gamble paid off.
Dark, and I think Game Boy F9's found Tablet Cave.
Yeah, now in the semifinals, Game Boy ended up having to reset because he bonked his way through, having a little bit of trouble navigating his way out. You would hope that that won't be the case here as he makes his way to the one chest which has a magic key.
Oh, hey, it's a key for free. Not gonna complain about that. And gameboyf9 able to navigate his way through the cave.
And now we've got a Druid Lord on Game Boy's side. Card, meanwhile, just getting off to a nice advantage here in terms of experience. At least here at this point of the race.
The Wyvern kills are definitely stacking up here. And we're seeing in chat the curious decision for gameboyf9 against that Druid Lord using hurt instead of attacking with the Edric Sword.
Yeah, if he were to attack, there would be a damage range of anywhere from 12 to 24, and we've got another Fairy Water in the chest in Rimeldar here. Now that works just like the Repel spell in that when you use that or cast the spell of Repel, you won't encounter any enemies whose strength is the same as or lower than your defense. So Card now going to head over to the west and see that there's nothing there and take the Death in the Swamp in the meanwhile.
Yep, there's really only one way to go from the start. See how the paths diverge from here, especially whenever we find a Swamp Cave.
It's the Swamp Cave almost like a bit of a transport in that you go into one side and you come out the other and you aren't sure where it'll exactly lead you. Ooh, and trying for the knight, but not quite able to take him out. So here we are, we're just under a half hour into this seed, and we're looking at a combined 31 deaths between our two runners here.
Which, given the nature of Dragon Warrior Randomizer, probably isn't the most unusual thing in the world.
Yeah, a little bit on the brutality side here, and now here comes level 7 for Game Boy.
And having heal is nice, though heal more is definitely better, but we'll see how MP efficiency comes into play for that.
Well, at this stage, with having such mediocre hit points, having the spell of heal would be better, as you're using 8 magic points every time you cast Heal More as opposed to 3 every time you cast Heal. So it allows you to perhaps explore a little bit and really get a little bit more for your proverbial magic money.
And we got level 8, 7, 2, 1, 9, new spell, and it's Sleep for NESCardinality.
And speaking of sleep, Poltergeist putting Game Boy to sleep over on his side. Oh, we've got a golem.
Which, if gameboyf9 counters one of those, he's already got the fairy flute, he could use that to his advantage to get a ton of XP for it if he's lucky. And another big swamp with nothing in it.
Well, the problem that Game Boy would have is there is a potential for him, even at max hit points, to be one-shot by the golem with this low defense, as it can hit for anywhere between 27 and 54 hit points. And having a max of 48, a little too much of a gamble.
Well,
especially given how high the hit points are that it has.
I guess if nothing else, you can still use the fairy flute and then run.
There is that. There most certainly is that, although there is the challenge that you run into of, well, time, as both of our runners are trying to fight that here. As every time you use that fairy flute, I believe that's another 8 seconds that gets used up as it plays its little tune.
Well, I guess it's just a matter of which is a bigger time loss, that or going back to start.
So we have a small shield on Game Boy's side, and Card assessing the wares and realizing not quite enough money saved up.
I don't think NESCardinality has seen Rimuldar yet. Or Hawkness, for that matter.
Well, on the bottom right corner of his screen, he now sees that there is a town. So I'd imagine after taking out this gold man...
Oh, geez.
Well, or after this gold man taking him out. Wow, a rough combination from the gold man of sleep and the baby dragon breath, which is just as bad as the melee attack, and that's going to take Card out.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a really bad sight to see the gold men have that, because they're really not worth fighting under almost any circumstance unless you're specifically doing a gold grind.
And Game Boy now up to level 8. A little under 3 minutes behind Card in that regard. But you can see the difference being made up a little bit more swiftly, having that extra 40 attack power.
Yeah, just being able to use attacks as opposed to using hurt spells, that's definitely favoring Game Boy F9 right now.
Yeah, already up to 81 attack. Now, the Demon Knight may be a bit overzealous, but we'll see here.
Oh, he takes him out in 2 hits. Wow.
Able to two-shot it. Yeah, got a couple of high rolls as the Demon Knight has roughly up to 38 hit points, and right now striking for anywhere between 12 and 24. And there's the Dragon Lord 2 Breath from the Green Dragon, and another critical hit from Game Boy.
Dang!
And just like that, he's right back up there with Card here. Just about 30 experience behind.
Yeah, but still, exploration's still a bit stymied with all these swamps around.
But still quite a bit found out, that's for sure. Now, one thing that Chad had mentioned a little while ago, golly, at this point, maybe, about 10 minutes ago or so, was that Game Boy, in his exploration, didn't check the basement of Tanagel Castle, and I don't think has been back to the castle in a little while, and hasn't thought to at least see what might be there.
True enough.
Now, granted, that gamble paid off in getting Erdrick's sword, but now with a decent amount of money here, you have to wonder what Game Boy is looking to get. Perhaps maybe some armor, maybe upgrade. I think the only other shield was the was the silver shield.
I thought maybe there was like half plate or something. Or maybe
That might be what he's going for.
Didn't really get that good of a look at what was for sale.
That's the other thing. They're so used to being able to check things out in a split second that if you blink, you miss what they're looking at.
Not to mention, I don't think he had ever checked the armor shop in Rimuldar. I don't think he did.
I also don't think that he had much money to be able to check, so it was a little out of the way, and really the goal at that point was the keys. The only 2 trips made in there, one was to purchase a couple of initial keys, and then secondly to stay at the inn and check out what that particular chest was behind the 2 doors. And here comes level 9 for Card and Game Boy.
For both, we get 3, 4, 4, 1, new spell, and turn and repel.
So only about a 7-second differential between the 2 getting to level 9. Evenly matched?
Oh, okay,
yeah, I'd
there
say
was
so.
half plate there. Okay. So my mind wasn't playing tricks on me for once.
No, definitely not there. And another death for Card here, this time to the Axe Knight. And Game Boy gonna take a look at what is in Hawksness.
Well, Warlock's not the worst thing. Probably might check what the trap tile is here, even though it's probably not in any state to actually fight it yet, whatever it is.
Yeah, considering that Guardian can be one of 6 enemies, either an Axe Knight, a Blue Dragon, a Stone Man, an Armored Knight, a Red Dragon, or a Golem, and it looks like it's the Blue Dragon here in this case.
And gameboyf9's giving it a solid try, at least. It's probably not going to amount to much, but... Yeah.
Well, the issue in this case, as Jay Coper noting in chat, was that the magic point resources to be able to cast Heal More were extremely low.
If anything, it was probably just getting information. At our current levels, we probably wouldn't be able to have taken out whatever it was.
And now raiding the treasury here, getting a little bit more gold.
Still not checking the basement. Did he use all his keys?
I don't believe so, but now here comes Card, and he has found Rimeldar. And he has to think that he is behind, considering that it's 36 minutes into the seed and how close the town was to the starting castle. And Smashy, to answer your question in chat, Erdrick's sword was locked behind Garenham among the 3 chests there, along with the Death Necklace and the Fairy Water.
And now that NESCardinality has the means of getting keys, we'll probably be getting that sword in short order. And let's see what we got in the shop in Rimeldar. I don't think we had seen this. Well, more options on the armor front, that's for sure.
Yeah, he could have afforded a leather armor, but opting to perhaps hold off to get the key.
Getting the chest,
or getting the chest and the Fairy Water.
Fairy Water.
So now Card gonna go into the treasury here, gonna pick up the silver harp. About 15 minutes after.
And gameboyf9 picking up the large shield.
And now Card gonna head to the back here.
And will we see what's in the basement this time? Oh, NESCardinality.
Gonna make the trek here. And it is the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave. That is empty.
Oh, man. Wow.
So that means that it was, I didn't get the chance to see the item inventory. It was either an herb or a magic key.
Probably an herb. I think NESCardinality bought herbs, and I don't think he's clearly not, probably not full on keys. Maybe, I don't know.
Ooh.
I didn't really see the inventory there.
UpNG saying he had just topped off on keys.
So if he was full up on herbs, it still could have gone either way. Either way, it was not an important thing, an important item to find. Meanwhile, gameboyf9's been gaining a pretty sizable XP lead at the moment. over 300, getting a 300 XP advantage right now. And we hit level 10. Let's see what we got. Power 3, 4, 15 for new spell. I think it was outside.
And there's Erdrick's sword, just past the 40-minute mark for Card.
Yeah, he's probably feeling the pressure now that he sees that.
So now he's going to meander his way through the tablet cave.
I'm finding it a little bit interesting. We're 40 minutes in, our runners are at level 9 and 10, and we've explored so little of the world.
Sometimes the world can be very vast, and other times it can be very compact.
At least we're finding some of the important stuff, like the sword and whatever happens to be here at Hoxness.
So now here's Game Boy with a lot more resources, going to go after the Blue Dragon Guardian in Hawksness.
The attack power and the MP that he's got, this has at least a good chance of taking out the Blue Dragon here.
Well, his attacks can do anywhere between 11 and 22 per swing. So there's a good chance that after 6 attacks he'll be able to do so. And with the 55 defense, able to withstand at least one attack here, but it's pretty close.
Oh yeah.
Doing anywhere from 17 to 35 damage as the Blue Dragon.
And down goes the Blue Dragon. And what do we have?
It's Erdrick's armor!
Oh, that is nice to see.
So we know not yet if the final search item, Erdrick's token, if it is in the town of Cole, or if we will get coordinates for an overworld search spot.
Which, if it's coordinates, unless it's close by, that's going to be an interesting search for that. And it looks like gameboyf9 is about to get the unfortunate news about the tangential basement.
At least it wasn't an essential item, because I think it was initially mentioned about 20 minutes ago of checking it, and better late than never.
If nothing else, I don't think gameboyf9 had bought herbs, so if it's that, we'll see, we'll find out. Or I guess it was a key, since gameboyf9 did stock up on keys before going in.
That looks to be confirmed.
But now that gameboyf9 has Erdrick's armor, all these swamps mean nothing to him now. And we're definitely kind of pigeonholed seeing NESCardinality traveling south of our triple towns here. Going through the swamp is our only option.
On Card looking to explore to the north.
Well, that's the only other direction left to go. Everything else has been a dead end. And there's Sharlock. Okay. And
As well as a cave.
And the cave, yeah, the world is being very linear so far.
No radiance spell.
No torches either, apparently.
And no further exploration, it looks like. And Fire taking out Card here. Death number 15 for him.
According to chat, looks like it was Swamp South. You talking about Game Boy F9 coming across a metal slime.
Yeah, Metal Slime having only 3... Oh, goodness.
Oh, dear.
3 hit points and the Dragon Lord breath this time around.
Yeah, you don't want to see that from the Metal Slime. Ooh,
so Game Boy now on the other end, and we've found the town of Cole.
Okay, moment of truth. Is the token here, or are we going to be searching out coordinates? And it's
Oh!
Here. Okay. So that's official. There won't be any coordinates today. But we're still gotta hunt down that the Stones of Sunlight and the Jerk Cave and the Staff of Rain Cave.
Yes, now the Jerk Cave that Melee is referencing, it's the Rainbow Drop Cave. The reason it's called the Jerk Cave is if you don't have all the essential items, most notably Erdrick's token, and you go to try to talk to him, he'll literally kick you out of the cave like the jerk that he is. And Card using the sleep and run strats. One of the little known quirks of the game is that if you put an enemy to sleep, you are guaranteed to run away.
Which makes perfect sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
It would be funny if you put someone to sleep and still couldn't run away. And I think Game Boy F9 just found Mountain Cave. Just from those first couple steps, and Star Wyverns have sleep and hurt, which isn't bad.
Yeah, so far this looks to be a pretty narcoleptic seed here. In terms of enemies putting our runners to sleep. The action is exciting, that's for sure.
Yeah, but we've had Stop Spell from the beginning, so... Ooh, level 11. Let's see what we got. 2, 5, 8, 2. The stats, the stats are there. They're not the best, but they're there.
You see a couple of the items hitting into the orange color. That means that you're getting pretty close. Close to what you need for the dragon. Once you see those numbers starting to go into the green, that's when you know that that stat is good to go.
Thankfully, the Stop Spell has been working on these Star Wyverns so far. It's a good way to neutralize them, since they seem to prefer using those abilities.
So Card, if he's able to take out this Axe Knight, will cross the threshold to get to level 10.
Game Boy F9 finding an herb in the first chest. Let's see what we got on the second floor. Ooh!
Oh, there's the Stones of Sunlight.
Ha-ha! Did he check the other chest? Oh no, it was the chest. The chest.
That was the southeastern chest.
Okay. And got some gold and another herb. One more chest to find. Thankfully, the enemies have been pretty benign on the second floor, especially compared to the first floor with the Star Wyverns and werewolves.
Now, not only is he full clearing the cave to potentially look for the fighter's ring to get an additional 2 attack power, but might also be setting up a gold grind glitch here. Now, the way that works for those unfamiliar is that the treasure chests, they'll respawn every time you go to the overworld map, but due to the programming limitations at the time the game was made, the game only tracks up to 8 chests as opened. And every chest open beyond that 8th chest, well, it can be taken over and over again. Usually it's done by taking 2 chests from a cave, or in this case, all 5, death warping back to Tanager Castle, as the 3 treasure chests in the throne room are marked as open so that we don't take those over and over again. And then if one of the 4 treasure chests there in the treasury have gold, you can continue to take it over and over again and get at least 500 gold per take. And that usually is where our runners will take advantage of that to get very powerful equipment. Well, they won't need the flame sword here, but they won't necessarily need the, at least in Game Boy's case, he won't need the magic armor or full plate, but that silver shield, which gives you an additional 20 defense, comes at a pretty steep price of 14,800 gold.
And easily the most expensive item in the game, and the one thing that where you can't get something better for free.
You can see the advantage of how that would work here, as the large shield that he currently has, it's 10 defense less than the silver shield, so that would bump him up to 80. He'd be able to withstand a lot less damage from a majority of the enemies, most notably all the way up to a wizard, which the wizard would do considerably less damage. I think at most 14, anywhere from 0 to 14 hit points, as opposed to right now where if you were to encounter the same wizard, it would be anywhere from 11 to 22, as opposed to 0 to 14.
And I think gameboyf9 is planning on doing a gold grind, because he looks like he's walking back and forth, just trying to get as much XP as he can on the way out. Because I think he probably could have left Mountain Cave by now if he felt like doing so.
Well, yeah, he has the outside spell, so he could easily just cast outside, but I think he's looking... Yeah, he's looking to take that Death Warp. It's just a very slow one.
But hey, you're gaining a lot of XP from these Star Wyverns along the way, so why not?
And they seem very determined to cast Sleep.
Well, hey, it's about 100 XP a pop. Why not? You take advantage of the opportunities you're given.
And Card, meanwhile, using the outside spell.
And there's an Axe Knight. That's another interesting enemy to find. The fact that Game Boy's not healing, even though the Axe Knight is, that pretty much confirms my thought that this is just a protracted Death Warp.
Yep, and attacking with 6, well, if he's able to take it out, great, but...
Which he does!
And he does, look at that!
And NESCardinality finds the Staff of Rain Cave. I did not see where that was.
It looks to be to the southeast on the other side of the Swamp Cave, it looks like.
Ah, I see.
And Game Boy finally taking that death.
But in that span has increased his XP lead to about 1,000.
And now comes the money printing, as he has opened the 5 chests in the cave. The 3 in the throne room are accounted for, so now every chest that he takes here, well, it may give a little quirky stat here, but nope, here we go. Time to print money.
Oh, yes. It'd get to about 15k, probably save just to be on the safe side, because especially with those green dragons about, you never know what might pop out, what might happen on the way back to Garanam.
It's amazing considering how short of a trek it is, but there's a lot of quirky things that can come along in that short distance.
Well, looks like gameboyf9's not saving. But considering really the green dragon is probably the biggest threat here at the moment. And just as a quick little hero jaunt, no encounters whatsoever, and back to Garanam.
Yeah, just a hero's run, no encounters. And now Game Boy gonna max out on herbs here.
And only had to buy like 3 or 4, considering you got a couple from the mountain cave for free. Granted, they're cheap, but every little bit helps.
And that was interesting, using a couple of the fairy waters to purchase torches, basically to free up the inventory.
Well, pretty much after buying the Silver Shield, Game Boy F9's not gonna really have need for money at all for the rest of the seed.
Must be nice.
And NESCardinality finds Breckonair.
Yep, good old Six Town. The reason it's called that is because the inn, the least expensive inn to restore your hit points and magic points in the game, just a low price of 6 gold. And now
So
Game Boy is gonna find it. Yep.
Yep, there we are. It was on the other side of Swamp. Now the only thing we need to find is that the Rainbow Drop Cave. I don't think we've seen that yet. And I don't think NESCardinality... Oh, well, NESCardinality finds it. And I think Game Boy F9 is pretty close to where that is. And I don't think NESCardinality... Yeah, did he ever check what the trap tile was in Hawkness?
I don't believe he has.
So yeah, Game Boy F9, at this point, I would say this might be his race to lose. Just from all the stuff that he's found, he's just got such a huge advantage right now.
Melee, I have called too many of these races. It's a little too early to call anything. I don't declare something over until they're making that promenade up Tangential Castle for the final time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Game Boy F9 hits level 12. 2, 1, 19, 13. And a new spell that we're not seeing just yet. And unless it's hurt more, it's probably Game Boy F9 is probably not going to care too much about whatever that spell was.
And Jacob, we're doing the experience lead a lot bigger than it looks. It is about 1,000, but that's a pretty big 1,000 in this case.
And it turns out, yeah, it was hurt more. And not to mention having the 1,000 XP advantage, plus Edric's armor, plus Silver Shield, plus Stones of Sunlight and Edric's token as well. Really, all Game Boy F9 has to do is find the Rainbow Drop Cave and then just find a good grind spot until you're satisfied with what is attack and defense.
As you can see, the defense already at 80. And now here comes level 11 for Card. And the Countess making a great point in chat. Having the Silver Shield and Erdrick's armor means that Game Boy is gaining experience faster by saving time, not having to heal as often.
So, NESCardinality staying at the inn in Rimbledar. Is he going to be making a play for Hawkness?
And Game Boy F9 has found the Rainbow Drop Cave.
Oh, yes. So Game Boy F9 has everything he needs as far as items go, now it's just a matter of where does he go for the XP grind. We know about the Blue Dragon ad hocness. We've seen Swamp Cave. We don't know where the trap tile there is. Might decide to check that at some point. And nope, NESCardinality is still not going to hocness.
Well, he probably figures that if he can find the other searchable spots first, whether it's coal or... Oh goodness, if Card finds Cantlin and diverts out of the way to look for coordinates that aren't there...
Yeah, that would be yeah, gameboyf9 is checking the trap tile and swamp. And NESCardinality finds the grave. Fortunately, we won't be finding anything. Probably the best thing that he could find here.
Oh, wow. Game Boy, meanwhile, finding the trap tile, and it is the Axe Knight. One of the best enemies to find with Hurtmore. So this experience lead is going to swell.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Axe Knight's having generally anywhere between 51 and 67 hit points, and a Hurtmore doing anywhere between 58 and 65, so there's a good chance that they'll be able to one-shot an Axe Knight, and it gives 130 experience per kill.
Yeah, and you just see the XP going up and up and up. So the one concern that I might have is how far away is Breckenary from here? I think that's the really only town we've seen on this side of the world.
Well, it was to the northwest, from what I saw. Now, no idea where Cantlin is.
Yeah, that's the one town we haven't seen yet. So NESCardinality doesn't know that, but it doesn't really have anything that's that important to us. And gameboyf9 rates level 13, 5, 5, 24, and 2.
And heading on out to replenish the resources. And with that huge hit point gain, already up to 119, Jay Coper noting in chat that we might see the Death Necklace come into play, and oh, there's the fighter's ring in Garen's grave.
Yeah, there is that. It either had to be there or in Charlock. We've pretty much seen everywhere else.
I don't know what that first chest was. And we've got the Cursed Belt.
It's just pretty much just good for shop fodder.
And to answer the scheduling questions in chat, this is a best 2 out of 3 race. Game 2 and 3, if necessary, will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Immediately following this game, however, here on Randomania, we've got Metal Slimes taking out Game Boy with some strong fire breath here. But no, immediately following this will be the third place best of 1 race between BTs and Mr. Holmes. And the adversary noting that something that is just dawning on us here with everything else going on is that while there have been all these gains, the strength is still extremely low.
Oh Meanwhile, NESCardinality is doing the gold grind. At the very least, probably getting the silver shield, which will be good, but without that, Edric's armor is still going to be at quite the disadvantage. So, regarding the attack power, the formula for determining how much damage that you'd be able to do to the second form of the Dragon Lord, basically take your attack power, subtract 100, which already tells you where we're at on that front. Then cut that in half, and that is the high water mark, and cut it in half again for the low water mark for how much damage you'll do. So at this point, gameboyf9 is not even guaranteed to do any damage at all to the Dragon Lord 2.
No, it's a coin flip.
However, with the Death Necklace, you sacrifice, I believe it was a quarter of your max HP for an extra 10 attack power, so we'll see if that comes into play.
Yeah, generally our runners want to do that if they have a minimum of 130 hit points, as that'll bring them down to the bare max of 97, which will allow them to withstand 2 maximum Dragon Lord 2 breaths at 48 apiece. Now, I did mention earlier that the Dragon Lord breath does between 64 and 72 hit points of damage, but with Erdrick's armor, which Game Boy has at the moment, well, that is one of the numerous advantages. As I did mention earlier, it's the best armor in RPG history, in that not only do you have the 28 additional defense power when you wear it, but you also don't take damage in the swamp or barrier tiles. The Fire Breath and Hurt or Hurt More spells are reduced by 1/3. It also negates the spell of Stop spell, and for every step that you take, you heal 1 hit point.
Considering that it's basically you against the world, you'll need every advantage you can get.
Most certainly in card, taking the advantage of picking up the silver shield after doing the gold grind.
Still avoiding Hawkness. I'm kind of wondering what NESCardinality's mindset is here.
Well, he's probably thinking the strength is super low, he doesn't have Hurt More. I mean, 91 attack power is nice, but given what the enemies are, he's banking on finding either Cole or Cantlin to get coordinates, and that's potentially a little bit easier than having to fight whatever monstrosity, which we know is the blue dragon, that guards Hawksness.
Yeah, mentioned in chat, maybe he's banking on the red dragon being a nasty thing at Hawkness, and perhaps giving gameboyf9 troubles, which we know is not the case, but... And we're at level 14. Let's see what we got here. 7, 2, 7, 26.
And you see the magic point stat going green. That means they're in a nice range to take on the Dragon Lord, at least with that statistic.
Notice that he's not even using the Hurt Mores anymore. He's just swinging for the... Well, never mind.
Yeah, generally a stat that our runners will do is they'll cast Hurt More once, and then if it's not quite enough to take out the Axe Knight, then they'll just attack once.
Yeah, I didn't see the Hurt More first on that one.
Yeah, generally the only time you see a deviation from that is if the Axe Knight is randomized to have Heal More. In which case they may attack first and then cast Hurt More to guarantee that they won't cast Heal More and be able to take it out.
Which makes sense, and NESCardinality buying the magic armor.
And gonna stay at the inn. Was gonna try to cast Repel before doing so, but completely out of magic points.
Wow, just almost a 4,000 experience advantage for Game Boy F9. This is amazing.
And the story to this seed was the battle in Hawksness, which Game Boy decided to gamble on and Card did not. And that allowed the access to Erdrick's armor, which, given how much swamp there is everywhere, that has been the difference.
Definitely. Sometimes you just gotta take chances. Sometimes it benefits you. And if nothing else, at least you'll have the information about what's there. NESCardinality hadn't even done that much.
And a good point being made by Up to NG, the early discovery of Erdrick's sword, about a 16-minute differential, that also playing a huge factor as well. So it's a perfect storm of things that has created the differential that we see here. The fact that Hurtmore wasn't found until fairly late on, I want to say it was about a level, was it level 12?
Stone Man has baby breath. Not a bad thing to see there.
And the adversary, yeah, it was in the 24-minute mark that Game Boy had acquired Erdrick's sword, whereas it wasn't until just after 40 minutes that Card acquired it. Now, while this does seem very lopsided, as I have said on many a seed, Sharlock Castle is the great equalizer. And we did see already that between Star Wyverns with the sleep spell, we've seen the Green Dragons with the Dragon Lord 2 breath. There's quite a bit of possibilities. We haven't even seen Red Dragons, as far as I know.
I don't believe so.
So there are a few enemies that have the potential to be extremely nasty, and if Game Boy runs into that through Sharlock Castle, taking numerous deaths in that dive to get down to the Dragon Lord will do nothing more than give Card a chance to catch up.
Meanwhile, Game Boy F9 hitting level 15, I think that was a 0766.
And yes, continued lack of strength gains. 63 strength here at level 15.
I think using, at this rate of things, using the Death Necklace is probably a given, unless you get some huge strength gain sometime in the next level or two.
And a question from Jehu in chat. Strength usually, well, it's kind of an interesting thing. Usually you look at the attack power as far as calculating to take on the Dragon Lord, because your strength may be different depending on if you're using Erdrick's sword, the Flame sword. So as far as your attack power, you generally want a minimum of 128. That's usually the bare minimum that you want to even think about it, because then you're doing a damage range of 7 to 14 on a Dragon Lord that has anywhere between 150 to 165 hit points. So as far as the strength, you want it to be ideally in the minimum in the low to mid 80s. Everything from there, it is a bonus. You just, the higher the strength is, the more you can just pack a punch on Dragon Lord 2.
Well, at the very least, Game Boy F9's defense is such that Dragon Lord 2's attack power won't outpace the breath. I'm assuming that's what defense in green means at this point.
Yes, yeah. Once you hit 86 defense, that is ideal because a Dragon Lord 2 melee attack will be will be no more than the max dragon. Yeah, the Dragon Lord breath will be no more than the max melee, or vice versa, I should say. It made sense in my head, I swear. It's been a long day. No, the most that they'll be able to melee for at 86 defense is 48, which is the same as the max Dragon Lord 2 breath.
Yeah, question in chat: how long does it take to get to Hawksnest? It was basically the second town we saw. It was not a long walk. So what's the XP requirement for level 16 again?
9,750.
Oh, X-Knight has heal. That's not nice.
So only 1250 away, so that's about another 10 Axe Knights to get to level 16. So I know we've mentioned defense breaking on a couple of different occasions. When your defense points are the same as or higher than an enemy's strength, then a different attack range is calculated, resulting in less damage and, in some cases, even 0 hit points. So you want to look to damage break as many of the enemies as you can. And at this point, with 87 defense, the only enemies that are not being damage broken by Game Boy, there's only a handful. And those would be the Green Dragon, the Axe Knight, the Blue Dragon, the Stone Man, the Armored Knight, the Golem, and the Red Dragon. So those are all going to still be pretty beefy in terms of hits. And here comes level 13 for Card.
And I think at this point, NESCardinality feels like, I think he feels like he's pot committed at this point. Having avoided Hawkness as long as he has, especially now that he has Hurt More, he's just going all in on coordinates, and unfortunately, it's not going to pan out.
Yeah, the big question here is, at least for Card, is where is Cantlin? Does it even exist?
Yeah, that's the other thing we hadn't even seen.
Well, no, it does exist. I say that tongue-in-cheek. It's just a matter of where it is on this overworld map. And I've been glancing over. I guess there's a question about the grind spot. Now, ideally, yes, the best enemy that you want to go for in terms of grinding, just for speed per enemy, enemy death. Your best bet is going to be the Axe Knight, followed maybe by the Green Dragon. There's a less chance of a one-hit defeat, but they still give you 135 experience. The best guaranteed one enemy hurt more is a Magiwyvern, but they only give you 83 experience.
You know, Game Boy F9 hitting level 16, I think it was 4809 or something like that as far as stats go. Meanwhile, NESCardinality has finally gone to Hawksness and is fighting the Blue Dragon. And finds the Edric's armor, and he probably has a good idea of his fate right now.
Well, a good idea, but not guaranteed.
And it would have to be something like a ton of red dragons in Sharlock with, like, sleep Dragon Lord breath combination for NESCardinality to really have a shot to catch up at this point.
To answer the question, yes, Card has not been in the mountain cave yet, so he has not found the Stones of Sunlight. Nor has he been to Cole yet, so he hasn't found Erdrick's token either.
I'm a little surprised that, given all of the exploration NESCardinality has done, that he hasn't actually found those yet.
And Charming 989, round 2 is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, and if necessary, game 3 will be immediately thereafter. Coming up here at the conclusion of this race, we will have the third place best of 1 match, and that will be between BTs and Mr. Holmes.
And NESCardinality finding Cole, so we'll get his token in a moment.
Yeah, both of these runners are extremely talented, and this could very easily swing the other way in race 2 tomorrow night, and then game 3 would be for all the marbles. And don't forget, if you want to give Dragon Warrior Randomizer a try yourself, you can download the randomizer. The link is there in the Twitch chat. And you can also join the Discord, as there are races going on quite a bit. To confirm to Retro Grizzly Bear, no, if Game 2 is tied, if it's 1-1, immediately after Game 2, so roughly around 9 o'clock tomorrow night, give or take, Game 3 would happen. So you'd essentially have a doubleheader back-to-back tomorrow night if it's evened up at 1.
Meanwhile, NESCardinality has found the mountain cave, so you'll be getting his Stones of Sunlight shortly, and does know where the Rainbow Drop Cave is, so we'll be able to head to that in short order as well.
Yeah, the thing with Randomizer, especially when you have this much exploration, I mean, a seed can simply be determined by which direction you go in the beginning. One person could go east, another person can go south, and you find completely different things, and one is more advantageous than the other.
And NESCardinality finding the Stones of Sunlight and immediately going outside.
Which will save a little time not taking that extra set of steps to go to what we know is a gold chest. So as Card continues to head south, Game Boy just pummeling the Axe Knights in the Swamp Cave, and the nearby Princess wondering what's going on and having nothing to do with it there.
Unfortunately, rescuing the princess really isn't necessary for this one. For those who don't know, when you rescue the princess and bring her back to Tangential Castle, you will be given Gwaelin's Love, and pausing for a 10 power, 20 hit points, 6 magic. Now we're getting somewhere. Anyway, with Gwaelin's Love, not only can you check how much XP you need for the next level anywhere in the world, you'll also find your she'll also tell you what your current coordinates are, which can be very helpful when trying to find the search tile if it's like 80 west, 90 south, or something crazy like that.
And now here comes level 14 for card.
So, with Game Boy F9's current stats, A, is Death Necklace going to be used? And B, 127 attack power. That's slightly under what you're saying the comfort level is. Really go for it.
Well, in order at this point, yeah, to get to that 127, the Death Necklace would have to be used, and that would reduce the maximum hit points to 114, which still gives you a chance of potential what are called double attacks, meaning you usually want to heal if you want to cast Heal More if you are at or below 48 hit points. Anything above that, you can attack again. So if, let's say, you get a low melee attack, and you go from 114 down to, let's say, 85, and then a Dragon Lord Breath for... Actually, it'll even go lower than that, I should say. I'm trying to do the math as I'm paying attention to everything here. So let's say 114 to 89, and then you get a Dragon Lord Breath for 42 that gets you to... that'd be 47, so you'd have to think about it. Oh, well.
Having done
you attack when you're at 49 or higher, you heal more when you're at 48 or lower, usually.
And having just done the math, after using the Death Necklace, Game Boy F9's max HP would be at 114.
Yes, and with 127 attack power, you're looking at a damage range of 6 to 13. So, on average, it would take 18 attacks to go after and defeat the Dragon Lord. Now, again, that's considering average rolls, which would be about 9.5 per.
And we're looking at about 15 heal mores worth at this point.
So, it's dicey, but possible. Get a couple of double attacks in there, and it's certainly a lot better, but as Unos noting in chat, thank you for that, coming up on... Actually, no, not coming up on level 18. Level 18 isn't until 14,250. He had just gotten to 17 not too long ago. Unos just trying to keep me paying attention here. That is appreciated, good sir.
And not to mention, Game Boy F9 has been dodging fights all the way down, so... If he was trying to grind to 18 on the way down, he would have been taking, like, Axe Knight fights or what have you.
So Game Boy now into the penultimate, now finally in the last dungeon. Is going to go for the treasury here in the last floor of Sharlock.
Yeah, trying to go after that fighter's ring, which we know will not be there. And I don't think he ever did find the grave of Garenham, so...
I don't believe he did, and I think Card only found the upper floor, never making it down to... Yeah, never making it down to the bottom part of the grave. And yeah, the ring, the fighter's ring is an additional 2 attack power when you put it on, which would move it once the Death Necklace is put on to 129, so it increases the maximum and minimum attack on the second form of Dragon Lord by 1 apiece. So instead of 6 to 13, it would be a 7 to 14, which would really help his position here.
Well, we've got an Armored Knight as the mini-boss, so to speak.
Yeah, something programmed for Dragon Warrior Randomizer, because there is that forced encounter that's usually surrounding the town of Cantlin. The creator McGrew had to find a spot for it and opted to use it as a mini boss right up to the Dragon Lord. So, Death Necklace about to be put on.
Yep. Didn't really need to use that herb. I think just the walk over there would have put him back up to max HP, but gameboyf9 is a fool, and the fight begins.
And a quick couple of fights. The hit point's a little low to start here. No ambush to start. Let's see what we've got. Going for 10 to start off with. And able to get a double attack to start up to 21.
Yeah, I've got a calculator up to keep track of this.
At 34 after the 13. Still ample heal mores to go here.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, there's a low roll of 8 up to 42.
Oh boy, oh. Things are getting tense for us now, because now we won't know how far along things how it'd be hard to keep track of it now. Unless that was just a pause. Actually, I think it was.
And another 12, we're up to 54. Yeah, nothing skipped ahead. That's, I think that was a pregnant pause. So another 10, we're up to 64, I believe.
Uh-huh. Another 9, 73.
73, yes. Trying to redeem myself thanks to Unos here with my maths. Another 11 up to 84.
Hasn't really been able to get any double attacks so far.
Ooh, another single digit, we're up to 92. Oh, and a 7. Not even at triple digits yet, we're at 99. Now remember, the Dragon Lords can have anywhere between 150 to 165. There's a nice 13, putting us up to 112.
Ooh, a nice 13. We're up to 125.
So at most another 25, or at least another 25, and at most another 40, where we got another 7 there. We're at 132. Now just 3 heal mores left.
We're up to 143.
So the next attack could potentially be the last one here. We'll see. Well, there's 7 that's at the base
7.
150. On another 10, 160. He's going to take it here, but it is a high... And this last attack is going to do it for 12, 172. And Game Boy, the defending champ, is just 1 victory away from winning 2 years in a row. As he takes out the Dragon Lord here in a lengthy and slightly dramatic fashion. Get out your GGs in chat, as gameboyf9 is going to take Game 1 in this best of 3 series with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 33 minutes, and 44 seconds.
Yep, GG. That was a well-earned fight there.
And yes, meanwhile, BT's noting in chat that coming up is going to be Game 1 in a best-of-1 series, the third-place race between BT's and Mr. Holmes. So definitely want to stick around for that.
And I am not in the SRL room, are you?
I can't say that I am.
seeing if Game Boy F9 is able to come in for an interview might be a little awkward.
How so?
Well, I guess there's other ways of contacting you, I suppose.
Okay, CyberDark86, our tracker. Yeah, thank you to CyberDark86 and Yoniman for taking care of the behind the scenes, the restream, as well as the tracking.
Yep, we couldn't do what we do without the things that you guys do. Meanwhile, NESCardinality is still plugging away and looks like it's just reaching level 16.
Yeah, Card is going to finish this out here, and
it looks like we have our winner, Game Boy F9, in the booth with us. GG, sir.
Good game. Thank you. That was a very fun. That was a very challenging. Like, a lot of interesting decisions had to be made in that seed.
Oh yeah, definitely. But by the one decision that really put you over the top was the decision to go after Hawkness.
Oh, go after Hawks as soon as I had the HP.
Yep, pretty much. NESCardinality put that off for quite a while.
I knew I had to go for it though. I knew, and it turned out that it was like the Randomizer's biggest swamp ever created. It made you wonder if we were playing Big Swamp mode. I mean, especially with that start. That was a little bit nuts. It's like, how am I gonna get points? How am I gonna get points? And then I'm seeing 3 towns in the bottom right corner of that first section, and I'm like, oh dear, was Card able to get an advantage off of that? And unfortunately with Garanham, Maxie got a broad. The only weapon that was there was a broadsword, so you couldn't do that. Oh, that was
And meanwhile, it was actually you were the ones that actually found those towns first.
Oh, was it? Oh, I found the town first.
Yes, you did.
yeah, Card opted to do a little bit of grinding right around the start. Which let's talk a little bit about that start, as there were some interesting zonings that were going on as you took a couple of steps, and all of a sudden, oh hi, there's a wolf, and then you take a couple more steps, and oh hi, there's an axe knight.
Yeah, I know. It was really fun, and you couldn't get anywhere. You were stuck playing Droll. I mean, the best you could do was, like, early on it was ghosts, and I was royally struggling to find a Magi Drakey. The first monster I ran into was a Magi Drakey, and I never ran into another one until much later.
And on that note, NESCardinality is actually making a Sharlock dive at level 16. So he is taking fights along the way, or at least he was. Yep, he is taking fights along the way, seeing if he can get to 17 on the way down.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to note the 2 big differences here were the early findings for you of the sword, which was about 16 minutes, give or take, before Card did. You found it around the 24-ish minute mark. Card found it just after 40 minutes into the seed. And Erdrick's armor, as mentioned, you'd gotten it about 42 minutes in, and Card didn't get it until almost 80 minutes in.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty much the difference right there.
Yep.
I mean, that's how I lost against Tyrnex in the first game. Is he found everything before I did, and I lost. So
yeah, we're on our end. We're kind of convinced that NESCardinality was kind of going all in on hoping that the token was at the coordinates.
Or that the armor was more accessible. Yes, something that required avoiding Hawk's Nest because you'd found the fairy flute so early in the treasury.
Oh, the Tanagel treasury, you mean?
Yeah, the Tanagel treasury.
Oh, so Jay Coper asked in chat, because I'm reading chat now. He's wondering about those early crits on the roll. I know, right?
Yes, we noticed those.
I was always at the buzzer. And I drew a critical hit out of my behind there. So it was that was quite the thing, and apparently I have to ask Jay Coper about the Green Bay San Francisco game.
Game coming
Green
together.
Bay's still ahead. Green Bay's still ahead. but yeah, those drolls, man, that was quite a funny way, because like most of the time I was gonna be dead on those drolls, and like they kept dodging on me, I think. And G Mario asking what sprite I was using. I was using the Red Mage from Final Fantasy, which ironically was the sprite used by Tyrannex, who defeated me in round 1. That's actually why I decided on the Red Mage.
Well, hey,
it all comes full circle,
right? That was the Red Mage BTs. The Red Wizard looks different. I know I don't think I ever actually commented on it, but I would have known the difference.
But
those early crits did really benefit you, because at the time the NESCardinality was a bit ahead on XP, though you did have the exploration advantage at that point.
Yeah, it was really tough to get through the Desert of Doom. Like those who were with us from the beginning remember the Desert of Axe Knight Doom, the Desert of Doom, where it was nothing but Axe Knights around the opening zone of Tanagel, and there wasn't an intermediate zone back in the day, so it was just you just walked a few steps, boom, Axe Knight, see you later, goodbye. So
there was a little bit of that here, only in this case it was the green dragons in the Desert of Doom, as there were a couple of occasions where you'd run into, and it was encounter green dragon, ambush, Dragon Lord breath, back to the castle you go.
Oh, up to NG mentioning the ring here in chat. Where was the fighter's ring ultimately?
It was
in Garen's grave.
Oh, and I never found it.
Yeah, Card only found the top 3 chests, and it was in the middle of the top 3, and was starting to make his way down, ended up taking a death, and that was what led to the gold grind.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it took me forever to get to my gold grind.
Well, you made the most of it, getting grinding on those Star Wyverns. That helped you pull away for good, as far as levels was concerned. On that note, NESCardinality is on the bottom floor of Sharlock and is still at level 16.
Only about 376 away from, well, now a little less than that here, 281 away from level 17. And is punching everything on the way down.
And got a bit lucky with Stone Man having baby breath, but still did use a heal more. Down to 97 MP, and we saw how close the fight was with you at level 17.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you knew why I was going for the treasury, because I wanted to find that fighter's ring, and as everybody knew straight away, I failed. But
yeah.
Because I knew it was going to be close. How much magic did I have left? Did I have 9, or did I have 2? No, I think I had 10, didn't I?
Yeah, something like that. I think you might have had one more.
Yeah, you had 10 MP
Pilot's
left.
got me. Yeah, I had 10 left. So, so apparently I had a heal more to spare.
I think that one. I think you did get one double hit right at the end. That definitely put you over the top.
Yeah.
And at the Armored Knight mini boss, NESCardinality hits level 17.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, but when I was at the penultimate hit of the Dragon Lord, I could have slashed one more time and I would have won because I knew it was at 160. But I just don't. I want to. I can't take away the 0.5% chance that I miscalculated. So I definitely heal more there.
All right. So
yes, I won.
Yep, that's NESCardinality going into the Dragon Lord fight with 97 MP.
I was just talking to my girlfriend there. He was asking if I won.
It's having won game 1, you gotta feel pretty good about going into game 2.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm still playing like an incredibly talented opponent. Don't be surprised if this goes 3. I mean, of course I'll try to make it finish in 2, but don't be surprised if it's going to be done in 3. It's going to be a great finale coming up tomorrow. That's for sure.
Well, I'd mentioned it pretty early in the outset here. This is the 3rd tournament race that you have had against NESCardinality, and you are 3-0 against him.
Yeah.
I hope it's not a whammy stat for you, but just, I mean, it's something to throw out there, and I'm sure something will be thrown at me now that I've said that.
Yeah, it's in the form of hee, I cannot tell a lie. You lose. Ding.
Not that kind of, yeah, that kind of whammy stat too. Sure.
Yeah, I that was probably one of my favorite shows back in the day.
Yeah, Game Boy and I lament over that quite a bit. It's one of my favorites as well, if not my all-time favorite. But that's a whole nother story here. So yes, going after here, and up to NG asking, the hit point total is at least 160, and I mean I can mention. I was gonna say, should I wait until afterward to mention what the actual total was?
Yeah.
I hate sitting on those kind of spoilers.
Yeah, I hadn't really been paying attention to the damage count on NESCardinality's side, unfortunately.
Well, unless I blinked and missed one, I think he's at 101 now, 110.
With only, well, now
with only 3 heal mores now too. Yeah.
Probably not gonna happen.
118. He's got maybe another 4 attacks left. They're going to have to be on the high side here. Oh, there's 13, so we're up to 131. Last heal more.
Yep. But the Dragon Lord's rolling low on physicals. But... Ooh.
And 10, and that's 150, and that is going to do it.
Close, but not quite. Just needed to have like just a couple more, 1 or 2 more heal mores, and that would have done it. It's a shame that you got a whole bunch of NP on that. I believe you got a bunch of NP on that last level. That since NESCardinality didn't have that NP because he leveled up mid Charlock. I didn't have that access to those heal mores for that fight that you did.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and bow out and let NESCardinality finish, but thank you very much for the commentary for Ron and Melee Wizard. Ron, I look forward to seeing you in commentary again tomorrow. Thank you, Cyber.
Oh, is that confirmed? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Mainly for consistency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and also you're cool. But anyway.
Well, now let's not go spreading dirty lies and rumors here. Come on now.
And thank you, Yonaman, for the restream. Really appreciate everyone's assistance. in today's matchup, and I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow.
This should definitely be a goodie. We'll see how this plays out here as Card now back into Charlotte Castle and is pulling, as Game Boy notes it, the RLH strats, run like heck.
Yeah, he saw how close he was. If he was keeping track of the damage like you were, he knows how close he was. All he has to do is just maintain his MP and he should be fine.
Now, again, as you can see by the indicators next to the name, this is a best 2 out of 3. Game Boy winning here has taken the first game. Game 2 is tomorrow night, just under 22 hours from now, or just over 22 hours from now at 7 p.m. Eastern. If Card wins that race tomorrow, then immediately after that will be Game 3, the final decider. Either way, we will have a tournament champion tomorrow night.
As long as NESCardinality is able to get away from these enemies, still haven't really seen much for Red Dragons, have we? Even in Charlock. I guess we should consider ourselves lucky for that, but still, it seems kind of unusual.
Stranger things have happened. That's having called as many as is certainly accurate. Just we've seen everything. Yes, the Red Dragons being one of the toughest enemies in the game is the fun police because one tends to stop. And it was apparently.
And Pyrelight in chat saying that the Red Dragon's on vacation. And we'll probably see him again at Game 2. Well, we'll see. I guess even enemies need a vacation every now and again.
Oh, Discord. Doing its Discordy things.
And NESCardinality making it back to the bottom 4 again. As long as he's able to get the Dragon Lord without having to use any heal mores, he'll have I believe that's 15 to work with. As opposed to, I believe that was 12 to work with last time. So those 3 extra heal mores will definitely make the difference here. And Dragon Lord spamming the hurt mores. Alright. Let's try this again. Starting off with a good 12. Now we're up to 22.
Ooh,
40.
7.
Ooh. And you don't want to see those single-digit ones. Oh, there's another one, 47.
The range, the 14 roll twice in a row, and then after that,
So up to 55. 66. 77. I'm noticing a pattern here. And then 89. 99. Getting a double there. Very nice. In 109. 117. 129, and getting another double hit. 141. 148. 157. 164. When that confirms it, Dragon Lord 2 has a max HP of the highest possible value, 165. Wow. So that was really, really close. Came down to the last heal mark. But as close as that was, NESCardinality is able to finish with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 37 seconds. GG. And we have NESCardinality here in the booth. GG, sir.
at least I think we have him in the booth. Probably taking a little, yeah, he's in the green room, just taking a moment to get himself set.
Hello.
And there he is. We have an buddy.
Is Game Boy still
GG.
there?
Game Boy is not still here.
Okay, I figured he would need some sleep soon. Sorry that took so long, everyone.
Yeah, the seed was not that kind to you, all be told.
No, so I made a decision. Hang on a sec. I made a decision really early on to not go and get gold, and I know that Game Boy is the type of person who would go after the gold. I assume that's what happened. And so I was going through the motions of, well, you know, what could he find? So as soon as I found Garinham, I was worried until I checked the weapon shop, and there was only a broadsword, which I didn't think he would be able to afford. And so I thought I might be okay and I'd have a lead, but then later on I got down to Remolder, and then there was the sword in Garen's grave, or in Garinham. And so I was very worried. You know, I was fighting with the sword, and the enemies were not that easy to kill with it, so I thought maybe my early experience would offset that, but obviously not. Is that assessment about correct?
You did have an early advantage until, XP-wise, until Game Boy did get the sword, which was about 15-16 minutes before you did.
Yeah, that sounds
But-
about right.
But probably the big thing that really set you guys apart was that Game Boy F9 went after Hawksness a good ways before you did.
Oh, and the armor was there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why it didn't occur to me to try that. I don't really, like, I mean, not having the armor, I guess it was a big deal. I suffered a lot of deaths, and that's pretty fair. I guess that mistake is on me.
So we were kind of thinking that maybe you were kind of going all in trying to find the coordinates in Cantlin or something.
No, it was just a matter of exploring while grinding. I wasn't finding many good things to fight, and I guess it occurred to me, like, I hadn't found, the mountain, cave, and grave were really far away. I knew I could set up a gold grind, get the silver shield right away. I guess my mind was on that, just on continuing to explore. And I guess the possibility of beating the blue dragon early slipped my mind. I mean, we did get Healmore fairly early. I really should have tried, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. By the time you went over to Hawksness and got the Edric's armor, Game Boy was well into his grind. He pretty much had double your XP at that point.
Crazy.
And the thing is, both yours and his Dragon Lord's fights were kind of close.
Yeah, even my second one was cutting it close, which was shocking because I had 15 Healmores, and normally I'd be comfortable with like 13, maybe even 12 at these stats. I think I was one hit away on my previous battle with 12 Healmores. I would have been comfortable with 13, but I got a ton of low rolls early. That can happen, of course.
Yep. Actually, I want to say your first fight ended, you had like 150, more or less, and the Dragon Lord ended up having the max of 165.
165, wow.
And
Okay.
the thing is, your second to last hit, you was at 164,
Wow, that's
and that was with a minimum roll too. So that was kind of heart wrenching, but you still had the one extra heal more left, and that got you through.
It finally happened. The same thing that happened to Mr. Holmes against. Oh, I think it might have been in a casual race. Actually, it might not have been a tournament.
So to see like the enemy zones at the start, that didn't do you guys any favors.
Certainly not. It occurred to me, like, the Erdrick's sword probably would have helped me against plains enemies a little bit, but yeah, it really wasn't helping all that much against, like, everything else. And in the meantime, I was getting wyverns really fast, really early, and I was starting to feel good about getting hurt so early. And I thought maybe there would still be a chance, but yeah, the armor thing, that's on me. That's a big mistake. And yeah, I think I might have just had it in my mind that everything was going so badly on the overworld that Hawksness would be no different. But, there could have been an Axe Knight in there. I'd been grinding Axe Knights with Healmore and Stop Spell for a while. I should have checked. I should have thought to check. That's totally on me, and it's something to remember for tomorrow. Tomorrow, the finals will be finished. It'll be either 1 or 2 games, and so it's just one more thing for me to keep in mind.
Yep. At this point, all you can do is just take what happened here and just learn from it and apply it to the next race, and just.
Yeah, it's been weeks. It's been weeks since I lost a tournament race, and I just had 2 against Mr. Holmes. Eventually something, it was possible that something was going to crack. And of course, Game Boy is an extremely skilled all-around player. So it almost feels good to take a loss today, in a way. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. But again, I'm really happy with the choices I made, and I just got really slow gains early, no breaks, no early hurt more. There were the first 5 levels gave like 2 power or something ridiculous. It was just like my choice did not work out for me. And if everything else were the same and I got like 6 power per level, I think I would have had the advantage from the early. So again, it It was just a gamble, and his way was better for this seed, and he won, and there's nothing more to say, except I look forward to tomorrow.
As do we all here, that is for sure.
So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the race. I'm sure the third place racers are ready to get underway. Sparkover and I are going to be setting up commentary over the next 5 minutes or so, and hopefully we'll be all set to go shortly.
Yep, we got our third place race between Mr. Holmes and BTs set up to go momentarily. So I guess us in the booth now, it's time for us to sign off. So
Yeah,
so we got the third place race coming up right now, and tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern, we have Game 2 between gameboyf9 and NESCardinality, with Game 3, if needed, following immediately thereafter.
Certainly looking forward to it. Want to thank Yoneman for taking care of the restreaming, and CyberDark86 for the tracking, and Melee Wizard, it's been a blast as always.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Alrighty, so stay tuned here on Randomania. Coming up, we have that third place race, and I'll be back in just a little under 22 hours to bring you the second and possibly third of this best of 3 series. But for now, the third place race coming your way until moments from now when NESCardinality and Sparkover bring you the commentary of the third place race. I'm Ferran Burgundy saying, may your moves be excellent and your seeds stay classy. Stick around, everyone. The third place race coming up momentarily here on Randomania.